G'day folks, I'm Wayne, welcome back to MC News. Today we're going to talk about the Harley LowRider ST. Just back from the photo shoot today. I thought we'd do 3 hits and 3 misses. So let's get into it. Hit number 1, that engine. Harley's 117, their biggest engine. It equates to about 1,930 something cc's. Harley talk about it being their aggressive engine, quite sporty. I didn't find it that way. I found it quite cruisy and very pleasant actually. But I really like this engine. Loved it, almost every part of it. Really nicely fueled, nice and easy to use. Yeah, thumbs up. All right, number 1 thing I don't rate is that front screen. Acres and acres and acres of plastic and fiberglass, yet somehow buffets like a maniac. Really quite nasty buffeting and turbulence behind there. Apparently you can get different height sort of lips on the top here, so I'd be definitely looking into those. But yeah, that's a big detractor for me. That's probably the biggest detractor on the bike. I think it would actually be better without that whole front screen. But yeah, anyway, that's a thumbs down. Thumbs up number 2 for me is everything beneath your butt. That seat is really comfortable, nice and plush, and the suspension, which you cannot possibly get a photograph of, works really well. This is probably the nicest and plushest rear end of a Harley that I've ridden recently, including the Sportster and Nightstar. Yeah, thumbs up to the rear end, good thing. Number 2 thing for a thumbs down is that dash. See that little fella there? Tiny. It's got acres and acres and acres of space for a big dash in here. And don't tell me this is like a weight-saving device, because this bike weighs almost 330 kilos, which is massive. But yeah, that dash is not particularly usable. Hard to read in most lighting conditions. Doesn't give you a whole lot of information. That one gets a thumbs down from me too. Things I like, number 3. This one's going to be controversial. The gearbox. Now it could be that because it's quite agricultural and very clunky, but actually when you get your head around it and work with it, it adds to the whole experience. It's not a fast shifting gearbox. It doesn't want to be shifted fast at all, and it's quite, yeah, he's quite mechanically brutal in that sense. It will let out a big clunk, for instance, every time you throw it into first from neutral, and if you don't match the revs perfectly, it will tell you. But yeah, get in tune with it, and I think it actually adds to the riding experience. Thumbs up. Last one for me on the thumbs up or thumbs down is the price. Overall, 35 grand for yeah, a bike that's not particularly high tech, probably hasn't changed a huge amount in, you know, a while in terms of technology that's going into it. I don't actually give it a thumbs down, but I'm gonna give it one of those. Is it really worth 35 grand? I'm not sure, but I do like this bike. I think I like this bike more than any of the other Harleys that I've ridden recently. There is definitely something about this particular bike over the other ones. So over the Sportster, this one feels like it's got a bit more soul to it. I think it's probably that engine. I like that engine, old school, proper Harley kind of throb to it. And yeah, out on the road, this is quite a nice thing. I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. I know I say that about a lot of bikes, but this one in particular, yeah, this is not a bad jigger. I like it. But 35 grand, yeah, it's getting up there. I'm not so sure. But overall, it gets one of these. I quite like this jigger. More than I thought I would. It's got certain bit of soul to it. And I know in my review, I'm going to actually compare it to something else which might surprise a bunch of people. Something that's very old and I like quite a lot and is in my shed. And gives me the same sort of vibe as this does. You got to work with this thing to make it work for you. And once you get in sync, yeah, there's some good times to be had in one of these. I reckon it'd be better without that front screen though. Anyway, tell us what you think. So I need to start this up for you so you can hear the way that it cranks over before it fires up and then settles into a nice throb. So here we go. That gets one of those.